What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last video we were working on the Mustang there. We took our original drive shaft, cut it down close to my measurement, welded it back together to use it as kind of like mock-up purposes. I wanted to check drive shaft angle, check fitment, double check the angle of the rear of the flange on the rear diff, get that installed, kind of double check or show you guys what the clearance between the drive shaft on the floor would look like, the angle from the tail end of the transmission all the way over to the flange on the rear diff. You guys can see in that video there that it's not that far off. Everything looks really good. Drive shaft turned really easy. And just kind of go over that, get it installed, kind of show you guys what it would look like if you were to do that on your own. And we also did our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We did our little drawing there for the 1,000 subscriber for the winners. Again, thank you guys, all of you out there who are subscribed and sharing and commenting. Greatly appreciated. But this video, we're actually not working on the Mustang there. I'm still waiting on parts. Instead, I've got my daughter's truck back in the shop. And for those of you that don't know, this is the one we installed an engine that I bought off Facebook Marketplace. It's not in here for an engine problem. It actually still runs very well. The only issue I have with this truck is when I went to work, she had a wheel bearing failure. So I ordered a bunch of parts for it. And when I got home, installed the wheel bearing on the passenger side. But that wasn't the only thing it needed. I did order a bunch of other parts. And I'm going to kind of show you guys what I found when I got home. And I do have that side changed out already. I got the wheel sitting on this side. Kind of show you what kind of what we're dealing with. So we get the camera set up and show you what we got. Recording? Mm-hmm. All right. I actually got Jake. He's behind the camera. Say hi, Jake.
Hi.
He's helping me out right now. Came up. So, if you want to come over here, Jake, show you guys. Now, something kind of help show you what to look for if you buy an old vehicle. This one has over 200,000 miles on it. But when I came home to change out that wheel bearing, I decided to check out this side as well. So if you can, I don't know if you can see it, but you can hear it. It's actually not the wheel bearing on this side, but that is the upper ball joint. So as you can see, with something like that, definitely be a little unstable while driving. That's going in and out this way. Now if you want to check something or whatever, you can get a bar or a 2x4 or something too. I want to check the other one as well. Now you can see that movement has a lot of up and down as well. You can hear it. So that's what I'm doing with. I did have to take this wheel off once. Had to undo the sway bar so I could lift the sway bar up to change out the link on the other side. So I just got the 2 lug nuts in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get the 2 lug nuts off. Get this wheel off and then start unbolting the control arms and knuckle. Start changing out some parts. All right, well, we got the wheel off. I've already gone ahead and loosened up all the nuts, but I figured before I got it all popped off and take it all the way out, I want to show you there. Come on in here, Jake. So everything's a little bit lighter, a lot easier to see. So you can see here's up and down. If you can see. You see that? Get that on camera. So there's up and down, and there's in and out. Now you can also hear the wheel bearing. It's a little dry. But since I did the wheel bearing on the other side, went ahead and ordered a wheel bearing for this as well. Now I will put a link to all these parts in the description in case you've got a 2003 Ram that you need the front end rebuilt on. I will put those parts in there. I'll also put a link to this little kit here too, the ball joint press. This is kind of like your basic kit that I bought for it, but it doesn't come with all the parts you need, just like I said, basic. I don't have really what I need to get the ball joint out. I actually kind of have to get a little caveman with it, beat it out. But it does have the parts there to help press it back in. This is bad, so I don't really mind screwing the ball joint up anymore, getting it out. But I do want to get it in without damaging it, so it's good that that's there, and that's what that does. Another thing too, some of you guys out there, you can use a pickle fork, like we are replacing this outer tie rod. You can use a pickle fork to get it out. I have a pickle fork that goes on the end of my little air hammer here, but for the most part, I don't really use a pickle fork on those. I found that if you take a hammer, I got the flat spot here, as you can see I got the nut undone. If you take your hammer here and hit this little flat spot, I'll show you. Smack it a couple times. The shock will release whatever bite that it has on the taper. And like you just saw me there, you can usually get it out. So you can see another one too. I will tap on this, as you can see. That upper control arm is, whoops, pretty solid. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to smack the flat spot of the knuckle and show you. That usually is enough to knock them free. So you can see it just popped off. Basically it's just a shock, releases whatever bite it has on the taper. Smack it a few times. Kind of a little trick you can use if you don't have a pickle fork, if you're taking things apart and you got a good boot on it and you don't want to damage it by using a pickle fork. But anyways, I got one more to release. We'll get this knuckle out. I'm going to change out the wheel bearing and start installing some parts. Alright, we got the old upper control arm out. As you guys saw, I also got the bearing swapped out on the knuckle. So now it's over here waiting for me to reinstall it. I like to put never sees around these things, especially out here. I never really used to use it before, but being out here with the salt and the way the weather is here, use never sees kind of help keep everything from sticking together. So here's the old controls you guys can see right here. Here's the control arm. She's nice and, well, she's messed up. So got that out. Got the new one sitting right here, waiting to go back in. But before I do that, we got to get this lower ball joint out right here. Now, the other one, I use my air hammer, and this just got a little point on it. So if you come in here, this is the factory one, and it has 4 little spots. So when they press it in, they hit it right there, 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 there to help flare the end over, because the factory one's not held in with it, doesn't have a keeper on it. So basically, they just kind of hammer on it to get it to smash out or squash out. That's what holds it in. Now I used my air hammer on the other side, went around the edge here and kind of hammered it back in. But I realized that some people may not have an air hammer at home. So this one, I'm actually going to use my little flat punch here. I got my hammer. I'm going to go around and just kind of hammer this edge in, and then use this hammer to beat it out, because I'm actually kind of interested to see how long it'll take. So I'm going to go ahead and hammer that edge in, beat it out, and give you a little time lapse. See how long it takes to actually do it with just a hammer. So here we go. You can stop. Now by the little timer on that camera there, it said it took about 3 minutes, let's just say 3.5 minutes to beat this out, just using my hammer and this punch. I'll tell you, it's kind of a workout. It would be a lot easier if you had an air hammer. It doesn't need to be all that powerful. You could probably get one at a local tool shop, Harbor Freight. But anyways, you guys can, if you want to get a close up here, you can see I couldn't get all the way around because there's a lip on the control arm, but you can see the edge that was up against the control arm is that guy there and that guy there, kind of scraped. As you can see, I wasn't able to hammer on it, but everywhere I could get to, used the punch here and just kind of rolled it over, and we got it out. Here's our new one. As you guys can see here, it's kept in with a keeper and also has all these neat little splines here to help hold it in place when you press it in. And that's where this little guy comes into play. Now to kind of help it out. And you don't have to go super crazy with the never sees. Some people don't even use it, which is fine too. But just a little bit. That's all I want. Helps anything that's in there too. Plus, once you get the keeper on, it may help keep some of the moisture out of there. So, who knows? That way it doesn't rot out, I guess. But now we're going to use this little guy here. And what I have set up, this guy goes around. It's just a sleeve. Your ball joint sits in there and goes around the outside lid. You see I still got the rubber seal on there, but it sits around the seal just like so, pushes on the edge. It's got this guy here is stepped, so when it comes up in here and when you press, that way it goes around this guy here, and it all sits, that little edge there helps center it up in here. That way it doesn't want to slide off center. Take this guy, I've got never sees on the threads. If you don't, or you don't have to use never sees, you can use grease. Grease just kind of helps keep from golding the threads. A lot smoother operation. Just go in there, slide this guy in. Now that's kind of the receiving end, because this is going to stick up a little bit once it gets pressed all the way in. So get it kind of squared up. You can back it up against the control arm there, which is really neat about all this. Make sure your little sleeve didn't slide out of place. Make sure it's still sitting on the correct step. Kind of square it up. Put the correct socket on. Not that one either. I have it. It's here. There we go. Then just kind of torque. Tighten it up. You'll feel it'll get a little tight. It's at first. There. Get a little bit of a tension on it. I'll do this. Just kind of help. Kind of use vibration. Basically, it kind of helps center everything. If it's got a little taper spot or a little off center, the vibration will kind of help move it. Especially if you have a little bit of a bind on or a little tension. There you go, and it freed up. So now we're pressing in. Almost there. Matter of fact, it feels like it's just sliding into here. This is just a tad bit smaller than the smaller ID than the OD of the ball joint, which is okay. Definitely helps. I felt it. It definitely helps center this up as well. You don't have to get too crazy. It's snug now, so that means it's all the way down. Any more than that, you're just going to be tightening on itself and not really doing much of anything. Loosen this guy up. drop all your parts everywhere. As you can see, it's kind of snug there, but it's not really that bad. Just tap it. Take a look, and you can see here the edge, it's all the way through. Your little groove for your snap rings there. Grab yourself up. Got my snap ring pliers. Oop. Boom. Make sure it's all the way in. And she's all the way in. So there's your new lower ball joint installed. Now all I gotta do now is we'll get our upper control arm installed, put into place. Now as long, I understand that this truck is gonna need an alignment after you do all this kind of work, but if you want to get in here to show you, there's a mark because it's so dirty, but where the original bolt was at, there is a mark on the upper mount there. See if you can get in there and see it. Yeah. So that's where the bolt will sit there. Now as long as you get the control arm and everything put back in the same spot as the old ones, then you're generally good enough to go to the alignment shop. So that's what I've been doing. We did a side-by-side comparison. Make sure our parts are, whoops. Don't tell my daughter I hit her truck. But did a side-by-side comparison. As you can see there, as long as they're similar, these edges sit pretty much in the same spots. So, of course, that's a bad measurement, but center. Definitely close enough to put the new one back where the old one was, and be good enough to drive to the alignment shop. So now we'll get the upper control arm installed. I'll put the sway bar link back on, get the knuckle reinstalled, get this thing, feel it all out, and get it back on the ground, get it out of the shop. Alright, got the wheel on, got everything bolted up, spins nice and freely. Now we're going to go ahead and just double check everything real quick. If you guys remember before we grabbed it, it had a bunch of up and down, in and out. You could hear it clank or clunk, the ball joints, everything clunking. So grab this thing right now, you can see, you can turn it. You can hear, you can't, there's no noise. No, nothing. It's nice and solid. Grab the bar here because it would go, you could hear it clunk up and down. No movement there. So everything's nice and tight now. Shouldn't want to dart around when we're driving. Definitely get rid of a lot of the clunky vibration noise up front. All the stuff to do now is to get it back on the ground. Get it ready to go to an alignment shop. Yeah, so basically that's it. That's all we were doing. Figured I'd show you guys a couple little things when changing out wheel bearings or checking for your ball joints and stuff. But anyways, I'm going to end this video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you had a good time. Thank you again for hanging out. Thank you for watching the video, subscribing, commenting, sharing. Again, our last video was our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I want to continue to do giveaways as we grow, continue to help you guys out. So again, thank you all for subscribing, sharing. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications, and I'll catch you later.